I realized that I actually did like the book was when Heathcliff gets hella evil in the second half. I mean, he's kind of messy throughout, but it's when everybody's cyclical cruelty to each other, because there's just different people having cycles of cruelty throughout the book. The only person that is like explicitly soft and gentle at all times is kind of Edgar, even though there's still some insidious nature to why he's like that towards women like Catherine. But when with the Isabella thing, you hear his crazy rants to her about how you ain't shit, you'll never be shit, I'm never going to see you as shit, and you're going to take it like that. I was like, that's wild. But that's I was gagged, exactly. I was gagged. The next time I was gagged again was when he gives his crazy speech to Kathy's daughter at the end, or is it Nelly, or both of them, explaining how he used to go to the grave, he dug up the grave, he opened the coffin, and her body had not in any way decomposed, which is incorrect, by the way. Like, clearly it just shows like as if he's lost his mind. And that he was there, he used to embrace it, he used to be there, that he had someone remove a panel for her coffin, which is a violation, by the way. Remove a panel for her coffin and give them advance notice that when he dies, that they should make sure they remove his own panel as well, so they're facing each other, and push aside her husband to the other side of her body. And the way he would even talk about death and how he's welcoming it, the only reason he's even still here is so he can fulfill all his vengeful plans on all his ops, is so crazily, gothically wild and dramatic. And the way the book explains to you that Kathy is haunting him, because they never say it, that there's a woman sitting there looking at him. But then you read certain things and you're like, wait a minute.
He's talking to Kathy.
He's talking to Kathy. Kathy is sitting at this dinner table right now. My man has lost his mind. And I thought it was very, very... As in, I got chills down my spine several times while I was reading the book without any visual references whatsoever. So I thought that was very, very beautiful. So yeah, I just really like that. And I liked how much of a spoiled brat Catherine is. She's not a good person.
Yeah. Everyone is annoying.
But she's... Yes, everyone is kind of annoying. But she's still our protagonist. And their story is epic. It is a world-crushing story. It is a generationally destructive story. And I love that kind of epic storytelling. So by the time I got to the end and I was like, oh, these people are wild for real, I was like, yeah, I do actually quite like this, and I understand why this has endured for so long. And as I've watched, since then, I've then watched other adaptations, and I also understand why people keep on trying to adapt the stories, because nobody can get it right. But nobody has gotten it right, but there's such right material there to keep trying to get it right. And the person that truly gets it, that will be a marvelous thing to see. And I think, in my opinion, it needs to be like a 3-part mini-series. Because for me, the closest one was Tom Hardy's 2009 2-part mini-series. And even then, it still wasn't dark enough, but that was the closest.
Yeah, I agree. So I think I do really question whether it's even possible to adapt it for film now, because none of the ones that I watched did it any justice. And because, you know, I think what's tricky is, in fact, this is another thing to highlight about this poor adaptation. In the book, the Yorkshire Moors are a character as far as I'm concerned. The weather is a character. So in Emerald Fennell's adaptation, the fog is omnipresent, like it's always there. But the book is not just about the fog. It's about how the fog comes and goes. It's about how the rain comes and goes. It's about how you can see the moors or whether you can't see the moors because of the weather. And she just didn't deliver that for me.
And what that even means about the ghostliness of it
exactly, all. Right? But to be fair, I think if you're trying to do all of that kind of visual description, as well as try and get through this lengthy... And what I find weird is, like, the book is not even lengthy. It's a very small book. But the depth of the concepts that are being introduced is, like, it might just be too much for film. So I agree with you. I think the one that probably came closest to getting through all of the material, at least, was the Tom Hardy version. But it still wasn't the best version for me. I do think the Ralph Fiennes version was better.
The actress playing Catherine in Tom Hardy's one, she couldn't act. And she was too sweet and gentle.
Yeah, she's too sweet. In real life.
Yeah, but she couldn't, and her acting wasn't great. Ralph Fiennes was kind of like monstrous in the second half. Mm-hmm. And that film did feel a bit more horror. But I didn't love the Catherine depiction in that film. And I also felt like that film didn't feel beautiful enough. I don't know how to explain it. It didn't feel beautiful in its horror.
I don't think any of them solve all problems though. So it's like, if you want a book faithful adaptation, go for the Tom Hardy one. If you want one with the monstrous Heathcliff, go for the Ralph Fiennes one. If you want one with a properly casted Heathcliff, go for the 2011 one. But I find that one woefully, like, it's so boring.
To me, it's not like a normal feature film. It's almost like an art film. It's the kind of thing that you project in a gallery and people walk around, but you don't expect anybody to actually sit down and watch it from beginning to end. It felt so abstracted, and weirdly enough, felt very low production value to me when I was watching it. So I did like the fact that in that one, they spent a lot of time on their youth, because it's very important to establish where the origin of this level of hatred is coming from and desire for vengeance, which most of these adaptations don't do, especially this Emerald Fennell's one, where Heathcliff and Edgar barely even have an antagonistic relationship in this film. Meanwhile, Heathcliff is supposed to be plotting on how to put his son that he hates to marry Edgar's daughter, just so he can take his property, just because he had the audacity to marry his girl. Mind you, he didn't respect the marriage anyway. And that's supposed to originate with the fact that when he first met Edgar, that was the start of like a lot of his bad beatings, because they were playing and then the dog bit Catherine and she got stuck in the Lintons' house, and then the Lintons were laughing at him. So like, it's also tied to the class hatred and potentially racism that's going on, for you to really establish just how awful the treatment of him was when he was young. So I will say 2011 does do that. 1939 is just like a Gone with the Wind as dramatic, romantic, breathless film. It has nothing to do with horror or monstrosity. Yeah, one day someone will get it right. Or maybe, and it probably won't be a feature film. Or maybe they won't. Maybe it's us. We need to treat the script. We need to pick up the Wuthering Heights.